Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Allie with Amariespeaks, and as titled, this video is going to be about the athletic mind, meditations for athletes or past athletes. Say that 2 times fast, I guess. This is going to be an exercise for the body-mind and for your imagination. And muscle memory. This is a lot of stuff, and so just like I gave an intro video to the tower concept of meditations with energy, I am hoping here to kind of give this real quick intro video about this concept of visualization, of movement, of muscle memory, and of visualization through imagination. And it's specifically geared towards athletes, obviously, or anyone who is like myself, old now, and not really capable of doing things that I used to do, but I still have a love for them, and I still remember them. And there's a lot of fun and value and enjoyment to be had when you spend some time with yourself in your imagination space as a meditation practice, of course, to recall these memories and tricks and routines and even games or whatever, challenges that you were on, or, times that you performed your best, your favorite trophy moments, whatever they are. There's something so special in moving your body and having some kind of connection, talent, affinities towards the physical body, kinetic and mechanical, the technical side of your intelligence. I personally prefer to envision myself as these 3 parts: the mind, the body, and the spirit, and each one of them is their own infinite intelligence with a boss sort of their variety for each of them. And the body in itself, the physical vessel, is its own. It has its own particular infinite intelligence. It has its own range of capabilities and nuances and specialties. And it has wonderful infinite interactions with the others, with the spirit and the mind as well. And people who are athletically minded and who have spent time in their lives, taking personal pride in whatever form of expression that you were involved in and loved, or still do, still practice. There's a wisdom and knowledge that's unspeakable there that just you'll know if you do it, and that's plain as day. And so that's the place and space that I want to get at and interact with when we do these kind of meditations, this new category of meditations that I'm beginning. So I am encouraging anybody who has been ever a part of any kind of sport, or even dance or expression of some kind, to think about and try to remember that physical sense of doing it and how it felt while you're in it. And so, of course, when we do the meditation, sorry, I've got an eyelash in my eye. when I do the meditations and I share them, we'll go through the whole walkthrough of it. And I think it will be sort of just aiming, for like 20-minute meditations, for kind of people who aren't, real heavy into meditation, and aren't really seasoned to sit and practice in the mind for a while, sit with the self for a long time. So, and also because I'm hoping, maybe younger kids who are doing and in practice of sport at the moment, could also utilize these and start to build that other aspect while they're in the in the flow, I guess. So that's another reason, why I wanted to have this kind of quick talk through introduction video that I'm making now that I'll share ahead of the actual meditations, because I'm going to try to leave it as general as possible so that anyone, whether like for myself in a specific example, I grew up doing gymnastics and I did some dance, and but I really loved gymnastics and I did it for many years, and so for myself, while I'm speaking, I'm going through memory of that, and but I want to leave it and the verbiage and the expression of it open for anything, whether you are also a gymnast or whether you did skating, or whether you were a dancer, or even if it's something totally different like tennis or like wrestling or martial arts or skateboarding, or running, something. It could really be anything. Athletes come in so many different forms, and so it's my hope in the meditations to leave things kind of general and vague so that we can imprint our own nuances into what the movements mean. And I feel it's going to be doable, and it's also going to be versatile and really interesting to do and see, and hopefully get feedback from others about like their interactions with it as well, because there is an underlying connection, I believe, that comes through body intelligence of when we're in the flow, when we're zened, when we're doing movements that are practiced and that we feel born to do. We feel just right doing. I will be working and looking through like thesaurus and stuff to try to grasp good words to describe these things, because there's, it's hard to put into words, but this free flight kind of fast moving, effortless dexterity is going to be the main kind of feel for them. And I think I'm going to do a couple different types that could be really general, and then maybe one that's geared towards if you have specific tricks that you're working to learn, to stick, to perfect, that you can that we could do a couple walkthroughs, and maybe like 3-time walkthrough in a meditation where we'll go through the trick 3 times in the mind and see ourselves go through it, see ourselves stick it, see ourselves land it, or that it's successful, or the pass completes, or whatever the thing is, that you complete the run, or you get to the marker, or you get over all the hurdles, whatever it is. It could be something like that. And then we could just have also others that are maybe to remember highlight time, to remember your best routine, or to remember the time that you won the championship, or that final game that like you scored the goal on, or whatever. To walk through a memory like that, we can grab a snapshot memory and jump into it and go relive it. That kind of thing is going to be another aspect of these athletic meditations that I think are going to be amazing to get into and really helpful for people, because if we could plug into the body intelligence in conjunction and work it with the mind's mind to grab memories and move through time and recall and relive and really get into the imagination space and allow ourselves to fully remember and embody these things, these times and spaces where we felt free and alive and invigorated, and strong, you know, and purposeful or whatever, important, admired or something. All of these wonderful feelings, right? We can utilize meditation to get into the memories and relive them and enjoy them again. And especially for people like myself, right, who are older now and can't exactly do all those things that we used to do when we were young in such a, with such grace and ease, that availability to remember that we have the access to this and the walking through of it, I think is going to be huge and really helpful. And again, it might seem kind of difficult, especially for people who are older and been out of it for a long time. Oh, I can't really remember that well. Maybe it's not for me or something. But that is really just a stigma and a cage we're kind of putting on ourselves. And if you get if you get yourself into the movements a little bit and test it a little bit, you'll probably find some nuances and some real memories that you can tap into, and you'll notice the malleability there and be able to start like clay, kind of working it and making it into a more solid form for yourself. That is you. That is for you, And that's another thing to rekindle and remember and always inspire current athletes and current, young people to remember, is that the passion and the individual flavor of making that yourself, the sculpture, the clay, whatever that you're envisioning yourself as. It's coaches, mentors, past athletes, parents, older people, even those ahead of us that are maybe our ideal athlete that we strive to be like, those of us who we feel are like the top athlete, the one we want to be like. They hand us our clay, so to speak. They hand you the tools and stuff, but it's up to you to make it your own. And when you make it your own, that's the only thing you can do. So to own it and to feel confident in that, and to know that you don't have to cookie cutter yourself into the forms and exact practices or standards or whatever, the instructions completely of others. It's you and your personal expression of it that really gives us an edge. It gives us the individuality. It makes the others notice you, makes you stand out from others, because you can do nothing else but stand out when you're doing your own thing, and it shines brighter, and there's a resonance in that. There's also a great resonance that comes out of doing meditative practices and loving yourself enough to take time outs and relax and recharge and let go of stress and let go of expectations. I think especially, getting into an athletic mind with meditation, I'm going to try to find a better tag phrase kind of than like athletic meditations. I don't really know. This is, off the top of my head this morning, but it's so crucial, the mind games, to get out of and get into your own, and to play the game from your mind and from your standards, and make your own expectations, to use the tools from others, but to express it in your own way and make it new. Because it's scary to do that. It's kind of uncomfortable sometimes, but that's the name of the game. That's how you get recognized. That's why the game's beautiful. That's why the sport is wonderful. That's why the dancer, wins the contest, and that's why you get champions, win the game and stuff, because you do those kinds of unique individual things. You're the living expression, instrument of God. If you like those phrases. If you don't like that phrase, you don't have to see it in that way either. It's not meant to be super religiously structured, but there's something special that you tap into in the flow with being an athlete. And it comes at many different places and stages, depending on what kind you are and what kind of performance you're doing, and whether you're part of an individual sport or team sports, or if it's something that's more, expressive, like art, like dance and stuff like that, or if it's something that's more, really strict, like fencing or something that has like more strictness to it. There's these different aspects and chances of that practice and of the performance of it that we get to display and to work at different skill sets. And that can be, personal perseverance. It can be the times we get in the flow when we're doing like conditioning things to make ourselves stronger, and where the focus is really inwards and on our best, and we're motivating ourselves to really get stronger, to be able to perform better. Or whether it's you get in the flow during that game, during that competition, during the routine, and you've hit the flow. And you can hit the flow at other times at practice when you're in a team, and it's a goofing off, loose flow that comes through rough drafts, that comes through practice. It doesn't come, it's not as polished and strict and as tight fit as it needs to be at game time or when the judges are watching or whatever. And all of those are literal. Those are all physicality in times we get into the flow. In different ways as athletes. However, the underlying string and the most important thing is the mental connection there, and what is really happening when we get in the flow in our minds. And that feeling and that memory and the kinetic and muscle interaction that's happening, the communication that happens at that time, is not actually physical, and it doesn't actually need movement of your body to think of it, to process it, to feel it, and to remember it, and to get into that space. And this has been proven, so many ways across real studies and scientific things and stuff. And I'll try to grab some links and put them in the description or something on people who've talked about that kind of logical aspect of it, if that interests you, and if you feel like you need that kind of nudge or foundation to stand on in order to kind of explore imagination and these kind of more weirder, out there methods of practice and of learning and knowing yourself. Because some people can be a little scared of doing stuff like that, or feel a little like weird, or that it's nonsense, or it's not real, it's a placebo effect, like it's not real, it doesn't matter, it's in your head only. Well, yeah, it's in your head, and that's where everything starts from. And that's where all of it is. That's the foundation, the interlinking connection between every different facet of physicality is in your head first. You've thought of it. You think about doing it. Your body intelligence, your mind intelligence, and your spirit intelligence are having conversations in doing this in the thought realm world before anything actually comes out as a speech, as body language, as eyebrows raised, or a turn of the head, or actual actions. Or same thing with making an invention, making a routine, performing, being in a game, all of those things, they're all thought about first and during. And if we remember that and get the reins and get a hold of that, and we can institute mental practice, it increases confidence, it increases self-love, it increases flexibility, mentally and physically, and your energy, your invigoration, your motivation, all of these kind of things will be supercharged when you take time to dedicate not only to the physical practices out there, but to the inner practices, the shadow work, the energy work of it. And that might sound woo-woo and crazy, and hopefully I don't lose you at that, but that's really what it comes down to. And it'll make you an amazing athlete. It'll make you love your body more. It'll make you love your practice, your games more. It'll make you love your life more, and your teammates and your coaches and your parents. And even if you're a person like me, and you're stepping back into memory, and you're utilizing the wonderful things that you've done in the past to invigorate your positivity in the future and the present moment, and to use it as fuel to, be a bright, happy mother like I am to 2 wonderful sons now, and that is fuel to my wonderful fire every day. And there's there's so many lessons and things that I have learned strictly through, being a gymnast and learning all about dedication and loyalty and perseverance and strength and what your body can do if you put your mind to it. Those sort of wisdom points, they become refreshed within us, and they help us to coordinate our life better, to make better choices that are seemingly unconnected to even that in general, but these things seep into us. It's wisdom that comes. So even if you're not, using it as to get better at tricks to do sports, as right now in the present moment you're not an athlete anymore, these kind of things help us in ways in our lives that are, it's so multifaceted. So I guess that's going to be my little preamble here about these athletic meditations that I'm brewing. And I hope that I sparked your interest. If you have any ideas, or if you would like sneak peeks, or to have a conversation with me about them or whatever, feel free to send me a message or put a comment on here. My email's always in the description, or you can check out my website directly. I have my contacts page over there at amariespeaks.com. And I'm hoping within the next week or so to start getting these out and get them finalized and put onto YouTube. And perhaps BitChute. I will air this on BitChute. I put out my tower meditations on BitChute a while after I made them. And I didn't get any great feedback. I didn't get much feedback on BitChute, but I got some views. So I'm assuming, people might be finding stuff over there. So perhaps I'll put these athletic meditations over there as well. We'll see. But if you're finding this on BitChute and you did like my tower meditations and you want more, you can utilize YouTube. And I have, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 other meditations already on my YouTube channel as well, so you could find those over there. So thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have a beautiful day or evening wherever in the world you are. I hope you'll check out those meditations when they come out shortly. And otherwise, you can always find me on Telegram or my podcast on Spotify or, YouTube or BitChute. Amariespeaks. I guess I will see you next time.